On to our first story, Parliament has passed 3 new tax bills which were tabled before it as part of government's measures to shore up revenue mobilization in the country. The bills, namely the Income Tax Amendments Bill, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, and the Growth and Sustainability Amendment Bill, were passed on Friday evening. Earlier, the government had stated that the revenue bills are needed to help the government to complete processes for about $3 million IMF deal, as well as to improve the revenue situation of the country. The Finance Ministry warned that there could be serious challenges with the country, which may send shocks to the economy if the bills were not passed. But on Friday, MPs showed up in their numbers to vote following days of continuous deliberation. The first of the 3 bills, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2022, was passed at the 3rd reading stage by the House. The revenue measure is expected to rake in some 400 million Ghana cedis annually for the coffers of government. The government hopes to achieve this by also imposing a 20% tax on e-smoking and fruit juices, amongst others. The excise duty was approved after a head count, with the results being 137 for the majority caucus in Parliament and 136 for the minority.
Provides that notwithstanding paragraph 1 of order number 114, Mr. Speaker may, after the lapse of 2 minutes from the claiming of a division where, in his opinion, the division has been unnecessarily claimed, take the vote of the House by calling upon the members who support or who oppose this decision successively to rise in their places. Speaker, you may, if you think fit, either declare the resignation of the House or direct an execution. Speaker, I want to suggest that this is an abuse of the processes of this House. The Speaker, it's already 9:15, and I would want to suggest that people would want to employ this resource such that what is listed here to be conducted, the visit that is listed to be conducted, would not be conducted. And I will suggest strongly to this House that if this is a result, the Speaker, with the greater respect, what is listed here, the business that is listed here, certainly will have to be transacted. I'm saying so because, Mr. Speaker, we have been in communication with ourselves. We have been in communication with ourselves and discussing the better way to deal with this matter.
Honorable Majority Leader, we are at 113, then we'll proceed to 114. So 113, I could have said a head count. And when we come to 114, I'll call for the clearance of the gallery. Then after that, I put the question again. And then it's from there I can exercise that discretion. So we haven't abused it yet. We haven't. But I agree with your initial tenor of submission, because I was guided by leadership in this matter. And it's that guidance I am implementing. So if there is a change, well, I'm prepared to go by it. But after the bell is rung, for 1 minute, I'll put the voice vote again. So that is what the rules say. In that case, I can only ask that the bell be rung for 1 minute. 1 minute.
Now, regarding the passage of the bill, Member of Parliament for Nanton, Mohamed Tuferu, was rushed to the Precincts of Parliament to participate in the discussions, despite his involvement in an accident earlier. He was brought to the Precincts of Parliament to support the passage of the 3 revenue measures, later after which he was taken to the hospital for emergency treatment. Joining us now via Zoom is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin. Doc, thanks for connecting with us. We're grateful for your time. Now, prior to now, you had been clamoring heavily against the passage of the bill, but as of now, they have been effectualized. What's your reaction to this very development?
Yeah, they have succeeded compounding the programs of the business community. This tax that they have passed is going to impede on progress of businesses. And I believe the present government itself know that when we are overburdened with taxes, it does not help us. That's why in 2017, they removed all these nuisance taxes. Now, these taxes have piled up on us. Since 2021, after the COVID, we have been introducing all forms of taxes, and we cannot bear it. Again, whilst taxes are taken from your left, the interest rate is taken from your right. Now we have to contend with over 40% being the cost of borrowing. And then after that, all these taxes are piled up on you. It is very unfortunate that Parliament has represented themselves. They did not represent the people of Ghana. All the business community have protested against this bill, and they've gone ahead, listening to themselves and the interest of their party and against the generality of Ghanaians. I'm disappointed. The democracy that we are having shouldn't be as if it's a democracy of imposition, that they impose their will on us. They represent the people of Ghana. And if these businesses are going to suffer, only 3 days ago, the Gapoha GPHA called us. They said the port is empty. And what shall we do to increase the traffic at the port? I said, what else can we do when levies are high? Cost of doing business in this part is so high. Businesses are collapsing. We are not competitive. In the sub-region, the business that we do not do it in isolation. We do it with the neighboring countries. And now we are losing out. We are not attractive at all. Government itself wants to enhance on local productivity. How are you going to enhance on local productivity to be self-sufficient? When you are going to borrow at 40 and then all these taxes pile up on you, you cannot do that.
Let me come in at this point. Of course, your concerns are clear, but government has also indicated that the revenue bills would rake in about 400 million Ghana cedis, and it is also, as it were, a facilitator to the assistance from the IMF. Is that not in order? Wouldn't that also help the business community?
And so that's why we are saying, we're telling government to hold on and talk to the business communities, and that you do not have to introduce this bill to kill businesses before we can succeed on the IMF. No, because we could have adopted a different strategy to enhance on this revenue mobilization that the IMF was seeking. And that you do not have to introduce this obnoxious taxes on us to kill local businesses. No, they have options. They were not banned. It was not sacrosanct for them to use only this method. And that's what I'm talking about, because this one is piling up the cost on us. And we are going to pay multiplicity of taxes, especially with the growth and sustainability levy.
Right.
It means that all that the banks are going to pay, the 5% on their gross, the insurance going to pay, communication industry, the shipping lines, they are all going to treat it as an expense and pass it on to the business communities. Already we are overburdened. Since 2021, we have lined up so many taxes, the ECOWAS levy, the COVID levy. Government is suffering because he says because of the COVID pandemic. But businesses are suffering even the most.
All right, Doc, let me Doc, permit me to come in at this point. Of course, your agitations are clear, but the inconvenience that you are talking about is already upon you. What are you going to do in reaction to the inconvenience that has been visited on you?
it's obvious that the consuming public is going to suffer the fate of it, because we are also going to pass on, and we are also going to suffer our own fate by way of our inability to pay our debts, and also inability to even import again, or for the manufacturers also be able to even maximize their production because of the load of the taxation on us. So we are going to contend with it, but whatever decision that the trading community or the entire business community want us to do, they will communicate to the leadership. I cannot say that we are going to do this or what, but I'm going to convene a meeting among the consultative forum. We have a forum for all these business leaders, and we see how we come out and also protest or otherwise.
When are you looking at organizing that consultative meeting to decide on the way forward? By the way, protest has been one of your modus operandi. Would it come up in the consultative process regarding this matter?
Oh, normally I don't want us to be issuing threats and all that. We tell what it is, the truth of the matter. And we believe Parliament at this time did not help. They did not listen to the people of Ghana. And we are disappointed because they do not represent themselves. They do not represent their own interests or the interests of their political parties. They represent the people of Ghana. And we have to be careful the way democracy is being run now, because we are not running democracy of imposition, that we impose our wills on the people of Ghana. And that's where my disappointment is. And they could have listened to us, pause for a little, let's all go and dissect and evaluate the bill, and then come back. And why did they have to impose this on us? It is not fair on us. We are equal stakeholders. It is not fair at all. It's going to worry businesses seriously.
All right, Doc, thanks a lot for your company. As and when there is the latest on this, I'm sure that we'll get in touch with you on this substantive matter. So that was the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin. Now, it is a human being believed to have turned into a rock, fearing defeat from the hands of its enemies. His enemies could not catch him alive and decided to inflict machete wounds on a rock that has the shape of a human. They believe may have been the warlord, Buneri, whom they were pursuing. As a result of the wounds, the rock since then has always been seen with blood oozing from it, hence the name The Bleeding Rock. On our Ghana Man series, JoyNews' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafik Salam has more on the Bleeding Buneri Rock.
Paralagahe is a predominant Lobian farming settlement located in the southwestern end of the West district of the Upper West region. Located a couple of kilometers from the community is Buneri, named after an ancient warrior who was leading his people in an ethnic war, and upon smelling defeat, fell into a rock. His clansmen returned to the rock and saw several beads of blood ooze from the rock as a result of the machete wounds inflicted on the rock, suspected to be a human by his enemies. On our Ghana Man series today, we explore the history behind the 17th century Buneri, now rechristened Bleeding Rock. Unknown to us about the location and mileage of Buneri, we set off on our case footage, knowing too well that we will reach there in no time. We reach the outskirts of the community, and it's the farthest our car could go because of the deplorable nature of the road. We alighted, pack off all gadgets, walk across the dried up valley, and bump into a tricyclist who we begged to send us to the area. He agreed to take us for free, but later changed his mind and asked for 30 Ghana cedis. The road to Buneri, where the Bleeding Heart Rock is located, is not for the faint-hearted. The road is deplorable, bumpy, Actually, it's not really in good shape because there are a lot of farming activities taking place here. Coupled with that, a lot of illegal miners who have got a lot of several pits, and so one has to meander your way through to get in there. And so we are on a tricycle, on the bucket of it, heading to Bonere. We were led to Bonere by one of the elders of the Tindambes, Mbasiri Tubiri Kumpalang Mana. We handed him 1 Ghana cedis for him to seek permission for us from Bonere before we kickstart our work. Standing from afar, you see a human-like creature. Getting closer, you see the mystery surrounding it. Private tour guide Abdulaziz Belpo took us through the history of the human-like shaped rock.
This is what is referred to as the Bleeding Rock. History has it that an ancient warrior by name Bonere, some time back, there was a tribal war, and he was leading his people. And he got to a point and realized that the raiders or the enemy was closing up on him and his group. So what he did was that he asked his followers to go to one direction while he diverts the attention of the raiders. And he himself, Bonere, was a very spiritual person, very powerful. He believed he could manifest into various objects and later turn back into human. So he asked his followers to go one direction whilst he diverted the attention of the enemy. He did exactly that, and whilst the enemy closed up on him, at a point he turned himself into this rock to disguise himself from the enemy or the raiders. Unfortunately, the raiders, we are told, traced his footsteps to this very rock, and the footsteps ended at exactly where the rock is. And as you can see, the rock is shaped in some form of a human or an old person with a hunch. I'm told that one of the raiders suspected this was a human being that turned to the rock because, one, that was where the footsteps ended, and the rock kind of looked like a human being. So it was advised that, well, if it is a human, they should inflict cuts or wounds on the rock. What that means is that once you inflict cuts or wounds into the rock, the spirit will be trapped inside. The spirit will not be able to come in or go out of the object. So these cuts were said to be inflicted with an axe. And because it was a human being that turned into a rock, he started bleeding. And as you see, depending on what time you come here, you either see fresh or dried blood. This is dried, yeah, but dripping from the cuts inflicted by the axe.
So this blood that you are talking about, it never get dried?
Well, at any point in time you come here, you definitely see blood, either fresh or dried. Today, unfortunately, the blood is dried. But if you look at the other side, this way, you realize that these are even older blood stains. Maybe probably from last year or something, very older blood stains. When I visited here last year, these bloods were fresh, dripping from the top. So at any point in time you come, you see either fresh or dry blood, but you see the marks.
It is the belief of the people that Bonere was their forefather who turned into the rock and has always come around to pray and offer sacrifices for good fortune. The evidence are these empty beer and aquatic bottles thrown all over around it.
The indigenous believe that this stone here is or was their ancestor who turned himself into a stone to protect or to defend the entire community. So from time to time, they come to pray here, they come to offer sacrifices here, and to seek goodwill and good fortune. For example, those who farm around, before the farming season, they come here to offer sacrifices, fowls, drinks, and other things, even money, so they can have a good yield. Others that do hunting, once they get here during hunting expedition, they offer sacrifices to the stone that they call their ancestor, hoping to get a good harvest. So these bottles you see here contain alcohol, mostly brought in by people who come to offer sacrifices. And at certain times, some people also come here to make demands or wishes. And once those wishes or demands are fulfilled, they also come to fulfill their pledges. So in some cases, they come with cash, they come with animals, and they always come with drinks.
Aziz Pelpo says, one major challenge faced is the deplorable nature of the road, and if fixed, will improve and attraction of tourists here.
The road network connecting from Busa to Pagalaghe, connecting from Pagalaghe to this site is on more trouble, especially during the rainy season. It is not just accessible at all. So I think that if the road network can be improved, this particular attraction will attract a lot of people.
Paa Kwasi Schandorf, director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Moses in the Winnie in the Buguri, agreed hook, line and sinker with him.
There is actually the need for actual accessibility to the tourist sites. Not only this site, but other adjoining attractions within this community. When we are able to get an accessible road to this place, we will actually open up the place for more tourists to come and then visit. And of course, this we recommend adventure tourists to come around. Those that will be able to get means to can equally patronize this particular place.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Pagalaghe.
So outside of the capital, two nearby communities without a school earlier lobbied governments to cite a school in their respective territories. One community was more persuasive, and so the school was subsequently established in that community because they had a relatively bigger population. Instead of now sharing the school facility, the community that's lost a bid to get a school built on their land decided to boycott the nearby school and rather chose to send their children to another school, which is 2 hours away. My colleague Jojo Kobna delves into why the people of Japido and Tadando in the Pandai district of the Northern Region intermarry and trade, but cannot share a school facility.
Once upon a time, a community called Japido in the Pandai district of the Northern Region welcomed a group of people who later formed another community called Tadando. The two communities lived side by side, traded, intermarried, and related so well together. There was no school in the two communities, so they decided to establish an informal school. They hired the services of a teacher to educate their children. As the number of children grew in both communities, the government decided to establish the school for the two communities. This was some good news. But it was at this point that the communities disagreed. They all wanted the school built on their land.
When the school was about being established here, Japido wanted the school to be in their land because they claimed they were here before Tadando settlers came. And when that wasn't done, they refused to bring their children to the school. I think if we meet the community elders, we may get the reasons from the horse's own mouth.
So I went to Tadando to hear their side of the story. Kajo Samuel is a community leader at Tadando.
No, I say school I'm ever better than no. To when I am paying for when I did kind of better, until more my coin say, "Obey your mokra there at your bar." Etanaha. To side the moon there, Omumba. Tininchina Mumbai.
The people of Tadando softened their stance and said they wanted the school built in Japido, but based on the large number of children in Tadando, officials of the Ministry of Education decided to set up the school just at the boundary between the two communities.
The director of Pandai no aba aba frère Musa to study. In can first school say Japido ni Tadando primary school. Na first school there say film. Until we say Japido come person from school say Japido primary school. Nya din into me say idea. To first school Japido Tadando and the hand school as an ere na here. School no Japido a yet no for ebeko.
The people of Japido wanted a school built on their land because they were the first settlers, so they decided to boycott the nearby school and rather enrolled their children over 5 kilometers away. Their children walk over 10 kilometers daily to access school. The children are not happy with this situation, but they have no choice.
My parents told me I'm not going to Tarando, I'm going to Balai, but the time in school here, in school Tarando, the fight, and she told me to go to Balai.
Do you want to go to Tarando?
No.
Why?
Because of fight. the 5 o'clock you wake up and go to Balai. It's too far.
What time did you leave the house?
5 o'clock.
What time did you get to school?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
Yes.
So you are tired?
Yes.
When they born me, my parents said that we should not go there to school. That's why we are not going there.
So why are you not going to the next school?
My father told me that they were fighting, that I couldn't go to dance school.
So I asked the fathers in Japido why they would punish their children by making them walk long distances when they can simply send them to Tadando, what is just 5 minutes walk.
Ewa nti mbiso ekokwa nai nse ahawa omunante ko muko onyumbo ene balai ene pandai nse omubre be omubre ya anyefi omubebre nti omubre no obi ekira wose nani abuya wonso ojimino fa ojimino.
Very young children therefore do not attend school because of the long distance. The children stay at home until they are old enough to walk over 10 kilometers to enjoy the right to education.
No say Tadando Japido amobeko. Say baby amusi school no. Yampesa school no ngira ho. Aha na ya register sa school. One, no musi omo eye nimpa don chen say esa na abenso ejetum say nko mo be ye bribia omo fe population say omo say omo che sa say population omo de yade say omo don se chen de na ampa so omo dos ka che senior.
One very interesting thing is that when a Japido man meets a Tadando woman and they fall in love and they eventually marry, the end product, the children, if they end up living here in Japido, all the children would have to go to Balai, that is several kilometers away, instead of just a 5 minutes walk to Tadando Primary School. It's very interesting. But after engaging them, the people are saying that they will only go to Tadando on one condition.
Ne aban edibe pataye na yenso ya ne agino nka odi Jesus ba ha na omu be siawe na omu asesi na ya ne ahu say Jesus ebesi Japido a yebeko ho.
So as it stands now, if the government delays building a school at Japido, the children would have to walk over 10 kilometers to access education. Jojo Kobna, JoyNews.
Interesting developments there. Well, away from that, the Electricity Company of Ghana says that it will be forced to cut power supply to the Voto Regional Teaching Hospital and some other essential service providers by Monday, April 3rd, 2023, as part of its revenue mobilization efforts. The ECG says that management of the health facility will have to settle over 1 million cedis, which the hospital owes as electricity charges. Also on the list is the Ghana Water Company in the Voto region, which is indebted to the tune of 17.4 million cedis, out of which a meager amount has so far been settled. Voto Regional PRO of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Benjamin Obinentry, tells JoyNews that although his company is mindful of the essential service being provided by these institutions, the outstanding bills ought to be settled. Joining us via Zoom is the PRO in question. Now, Benjamin, we are interested. Why did your outfit allow the debts, as it were, to balloon to this point in the very first place?
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to yourself and our viewers as well. Well, it's a legitimate question that why did the ECG allow these two essential facilities to owe us for that long? Because if you look at the debt profile, it spans from 2021 to date. but I think you bear me out that these two facilities run essential services. For example, the teaching hospital, the municipal hospital, these are areas whereby people go there for healings and all that. I mean, people will be going there for surgeries, people will be going there for delivery, childbirth, and so these people, we normally have to engage them. So we've been engaging them constantly because we don't take delight in disconnecting customers, because once we are into the business of buying and selling power, so if we buy the power from our generators, if we don't sell it to you, we are not going to make money. So if we disconnect you, we're not going to make money from unserved energy. So we've been engaging them for a very long time. And you see, because it's a facility, you just can't get up and then go and even disconnect. So for the hospitals like this, we visited the whole teaching hospital more than 4 times personally. We've met the CEO, we've met the acting administrator, and even acting director of finance. Then just last week, Thursday, there was a health conference where you had all the health administrators, the medical superintendents, the director of finance for Ghana Health Service was also in attendance, together with the regional health directorate. They were all in attendance, and we had to table it before them that when you look at the Volta and OT regions, the hospitals owe ECG 8.9 million Ghana cedis, and we have to find a roadmap to settle these debts. So it was then that we distinguished that there are about 3 different kinds of hospitals. First has to do with the teaching hospital, which has a CEO and then a board, and so they are independent, they are autonomous, they are capable of handling their own affairs, so we should deal with them directly. That's why we are dealing with the whole teaching hospital directly. Then we have the hospitals under the Christian Health Association, the Catholic hospitals, the Presbyterian hospitals, those religious institutions, their hospitals. We were made to believe that they charge utilities as part of the charges they pass on to our patients as well. So for them, we can deal with them directly. Then there is the government hospitals, where when we give them their bill, it's supposed to go to different quarters. So we made them understand that, well, we've heard that, but you are the end user of the product. We're only appealing to you that the debt keeps increasing. And this exercise, our objective is to either maintain the debt where it is or to reduce it by, should I say, a significant amount of payment. So we told them that this is where we are going. No, we can't just go ahead and disconnect them. So we use the PRC LI. That's LI 2413. Regulation 37, sub-regulation 2, which says that before you can disconnect a customer, you have to give the customer a written notice 3 working days. But we have given them 6 working days because it's an essential facility. And this disconnection notice expires on Monday, that if they don't settle their indebtedness, you know, the teaching hospital owes ECG 1.4 million Ghana cedis. And after several visits, they paid 40,000 Ghana cedis before the disconnection went out. Because we are saying that if anything at all, your parent bill is more than 700,000 cedis every month. So even though this is up to February, if March bill comes, we'll be crossing 2 million Ghana cedis. So we are just appealing to them that make a significant amount of payment so that ECG, we can serve you very well. Then when you move to Ghana Water Company, since 2021, no payment have been made to ECG. And then also, they run essential service. If we should disconnect their pumping station or their headworks, water might not flow through the entire whole municipality or even the Volta region. Because these pumping stations are scattered across the Volta region. You have some in Hohoy, some in Pando, some in Sukakope, and then the main one in Peve. So we've been engaging them. And to put it on record, the PRC has also gone around to engage all these health facilities, hospitals, and the Ghana Water Company. So for Ghana Water Company, we've also served them a disconnection notice that if they don't make payment by Tuesday, 4th April, we'll also have to disconnect them, because we don't take delight in disconnecting them. So we just hope that before Tuesday, we'll hear a positive news, because disconnection is always the last resort. But we also need to keep in mind that if ECG fails to gather the necessary revenue or the needed revenue, the power that these institutions need to run their essential services might not be available. I believe you've heard the IPP saying we owe them more than $1.4 billion. We need all this money. That's why we are embarking on this nationwide revenue mobilization exercise, to collect the revenue, to pay them. So we just beg them. We are appealing to them, because it's not pleasant.
That's fine. Permit me to come in at this point, Benjamin. From the time of the issuance of the deadline, as it were, the 6 working days up to now, have you been speaking to the management of these respective facilities? And if you have, what have they been telling you?
Well, so we met with, we've heard from Ghana Water Company, the regional chief manager. He has also granted some few media interviews, and his response was that their head office is handling the issue, their big men are handling the issue. But we told them that you are the end user facility in the region. So definitely, we just expect some commitments. Because, you know, ECG want to make water region the hub of excellent customers. If I tell you that Ghana Water Company and then the whole teaching hospital, we serve them with a dedicated line. No customer is on that line. So it's really expensive to carry power supply from our substation to their end. We also serve them with independent transformers, unlike the way houses and commercial other people are, should I say, grouped on a particular transformer. They are dedicated on that transformer as well. Then also the whole teaching hospital, we read in a response, the letter is yet to get to it, but we've seen a soft copy that they intend to make 50,000 payments out of the 1.4 million Ghana cedis, which we have also clearly told them that it's nowhere near what we are looking at, because it's in your interest to pay a significant amount, because we want to help you reduce your debt profile. Because if you look at their debt profile, it's growing at an astronomical rate. Every month, they are adding more than 500,000 cedis to it, and it's not the best. So if we don't keep the growing debt profile now, it will be difficult. If the current bill comes in March, and then they add on and it costs 2 million Ghana cedis, it will be difficult. So at times, though we don't take delight in disconnecting customers, the disconnection is done in the interest of the customer to enable the customer pay the smaller one that the customer owes us. So it's not just them, all other companies. Okay.
Right, Benjamin, yes, this is a very important one. Clearly, it's a case of accumulated debts. Now, some people have also criticized your outfit for not being able to, as it were, take its due, through appropriate mechanisms timeously for that matter. So you are saying that, for example, the facilities you're talking about, in a month, they owe you in excess of 500,000 Ghana cedis and all of that. Why have you sat for this to, as I did indicate, balloon? And moving forward, for us to avoid all of these situations, what measures are you going to put in place so that essential service providers like these facilities do not come to this point where we get ourselves in all of this mess, for the want of a better word?
Thank you for this, but I think you've just hit the nail on the head by saying we have allowed these facilities to owe this much. And even the PRC even question is that we have violated the LI by allowing these facilities to owe 2 years. Because the LI is that after you give the person a bill, the person has 14 working days to make payment. But because they are essential facilities, which Ghana Water Company is not part of the essential facilities, it's only the hospitals. We are supposed to give them a reminder, and that one, we enter into a payment plan with them. Then if they fail to adhere to the payment plan, 21 working days, we can go ahead and disconnect. But he's saying that we have allowed them, allowed them to go beyond that and all that. So that is why we humbly approach. Yes, we admit that we have allowed these facilities to go, but because it's an essential facility, you imagine going to disconnect us. Because if we are to go strictly according to the airline, it means that almost every month or every 2 months, these hospitals might be facing disconnection.
So effectively, you are just putting a human face to the law, to the application of the law.
Yeah, exactly. But now that it looks like we've exhausted all the clemencies we've given to this facility, because it looks like anytime we go there, we don't get positive feedback. So now the aim of this exercise is that by the end of this exercise on 20th April, we are supposed to see a significant reduction in their debt, or they finish paying their payment, their debt to us. So we humbly appeal to our customers. We are sorry that we've allowed the debt to get to this far, but it was because of the essential services they run. Because if we should take off Ghana Water Company, you realize the whole municipality will not have water.
It should be detrimental. Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts with us. So that was Benjamin Obin Entry, the PRO of the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Volta region. We're taking a breather at this point. The news continues with more. Thanks for staying with us. This is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. My name is Paa Kwasi Schandorf, and you're watching the Joy Newsroom. Let's now turn our attention to the Ashanti region, where the Kumasi City Mayor Samuel Pine has defended MP in the region after traders demonstrated against them for doing little to ensure the speedy completion of the second phase of the Kejetia Market project. Scores of traders hit the streets in Kumasi on Friday in protest against MPs in the region, blaming them for the stalled Central Market project. But City Mayor Samuel Pine tells Love News that infrastructure projects in the region have become possible through the lobbying skills of the MPs. There's more on the following report.
Traders who were relocated to the central market to pave way for the second phase of the KJTR redevelopment project believe the lukewarm attitude of MPs in the region has stalled the project. The second phase of the KJTR redevelopment project has been stalled for months over financial constraints. The construction firm contractor who has been working on it has moved his equipment from site. The traders dressed in the association's colors marched through some principal streets of the Central Business District Edum to register their displeasure. Leader of trade group City Market Petty Traders Association, Sarah Osaibonsu, wants immediate action from government on the stalled project.
Now the Central Market no, omoja is penifua, omusiama and bibia ankoso. It's the air can say a threat abino on an impending for. Say immediately no. Omo rena Central Market now so no. Omo nyabaye. If we say
we are pleading with the government and the leaders to continue the construction of the KJTR market.
It's the other side de mano. Na catch MP Parliament, no member of Parliament na ya to abamo me say. Ashanti Region in Kumasi no. Ye omu ko so omu ko pempuntio e ma yen. Kumasi jo ma na ye wo ha na ye diga. Ye pam ye nya baabi ntsena. Ye ni baabi a ye diga. Titru MP fo a ye di wo mo chi wo ma uza Central Kumasi Ashanti Region de. Omu hold pa ne ma ye wo Central Market. Ento omu meboa ye ne tifie ne atete kwan ho no. Ye mpani sa omu ko Parliament a omu nka Sampa Central Market idane ho. Idane ye JC. Ye 2 ye 3 years ye tifie ye nya adwuma.
But City Mayor Sampine disagrees. He says MPs in the region are the brains behind the numerous projects here. According to Samuel Pine, the Central Market project has installed. He confirms there is a financial burden, but government is working to complete the project.
The project is a little bit on the hold. It's not been stopped. Because of the debt restructuring exercise, government has to put on hold certain arrangements. And we promised them, I would like that, yes, definitely, we're going to do that upon the day that we're giving for completion. And by the June that the contractor gave us, or we were forcing them to complete by February 2024, we'll be able to hit the completion. It's not stalled, work will resume after the arrangements of the debt restructuring. Not that I was defending the MPs, I was talking about the fact of the MPs, that yes, they've been engaging the Ministry of Finance, they engage local government ministry, we hold discussion with the president on developments within the region. So not that I'm defending, I know what I'm talking about, and that they are not sitting there that because they don't come and they don't hear from them, they are not doing it. They are doing something because I've had an opportunity to have engagement with them and with the president, with the ministers concerning development in the Ashanti.
For JoyNews, Ewuku Malik's report read to you.
Now, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service says that the service is currently worried that it is losing skilled staff due to brain drain. Dr. Patrick Kumar says that the desire of health professionals to seek greener pastures abroad, if not checked, could affect quality healthcare delivery in the country. Speaking at the 2022 annual review meeting of the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate, Dr. Kumar revealed that the situation has forced the Ghana Health Service to introduce some measures to manage the situation. There's more in the following report.
2022 report by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association indicates 3,000 nurses and midwives left the country in search of greener pastures in that year alone. But the number appears to have doubled in 2023, a situation which worries the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar Abuaji. He told a 2022 annual review meeting in Kumasi the desire to travel abroad has forced some professional nurses in particular to shy away from accepting postings to rural areas. Though he will not give figures, he says the exodus, if not checked, could disrupt plans of GHS to ensure Ghana attains universal access health coverage. It comes at the time the service is working hard to deepen collaboration with partners and redesign the primary healthcare system to improve quality healthcare and a more patient-centered care. Dr. Kumar Buaji says The Ghana Health Service is introducing a number of face-saving measures to address the challenge of losing its professional nurses who are in search of greener pastures. This, according to him, among others, includes increasing the number of study leave for staff.
To enhance our march towards attainment of UAC by the year 2020, we deepened our collaboration with partners towards redesigning the primary healthcare system to improve quality and provide a more patient-centered care. We are also losing our skilled staff as they leave for greener pastures abroad. And that's also been part of the fallout from COVID, that all our staff, a lot of staff are leaving. We have responded by increasing the number of study leaves so that we can build up the team, because they are taking the professional nurses away. So we've increased the study leave for our enrolled nurses and community nurses so that we can also increase the number of professional nurses before we get stuck into get to know that there's nobody there. And everybody, we have done that we are addressing a problem. The problem is that we are losing our professional nurses, so we needed to make sure we push that group up. But as you know, we've also given amnesty for all those who run away to school illegally to bring their certificate for registration. Okay, so that when your time is due for promotion, it will be accounted for you.
Meanwhile, Dr. Kumar Boaji is optimistic the introduction of the Model Health Center scheme could prove to be a fulcrum of healthcare delivery in Ghana. He wants all hands on deck as the service seeks to collaborate with the general public in the provision of healthcare delivery. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyemi reporting.
As a wrap on the bulletin, here's where we draw the curtains. For more news, log on to www.myjoyonline.com. Do have a pleasant evening. My name is Paa Kwasi Schandorf. Bye-bye.